Hello, welcome to part 2 of our crash cymbal accessory videos. This video is going to deal specifically with controlling dynamics as we play crash cymbals. So just a quick review from video number 1. We really spoke about 3 things. We spoke about the stroke that we need, the playing spot, which we broke down into 2 different issues, and that was making sure the cymbals always struck each other off center, except at the very small dynamics, soft dynamics, which we'll get to here. And we spoke about that double attack where the cymbals come together and one edge strikes before the other. So I think it's important to make sure you've learned to get a good cymbal crash before you start getting into dynamic changes, or in section number 3, we'll talk about muffling the cymbals and some other things. So let's just review again some of the concepts from the first one. So we have these nice slow circles, and I know the cymbals are going to come together off center with a double attack. Remembering not to slide the cymbals together or speed up at the attack and getting a very harsh sound. Keep thinking about whoosh, that whoosh sound in your cymbals, and you will be in good shape. But of course, cymbals are not always played forte. This is actually a very loud instrument, and when you learn to play them well, you'll get a very loud sound. And so we have to learn how to play cymbals in all settings, small ensembles, large ensembles. Cymbals are played in percussion ensemble. Very hard thing to do when you have some marimbas and maybe a crash cymbal. So we're going to take these ideas and figure out what we have to change to play softly, to play medium soft, to play loud, or to play very loud. Our stroke, the off-center issue, and the double attack issue all have to adjust a little to get these dynamics to happen. So let's first think about soft crashes. So for our forte crash that we had before, we were off-center with a double attack. Now to play very softly, we're going to really just kind of forget about that. And our softest crash that we can do really just means lining the cymbals up together, try to match them, and don't play any type of double attack. Just bring the cymbals together, strike them once, actually trying to get all of the sides to play together. So here's the reason that works and that you don't get an air pocket now like you would when you were doing your soft crash. You don't have enough pressure coming together here to seal the cymbal. You can't get an air pocket when you're just barely touching the cymbals. I'll show you. I'll play a couple louder crashes. There, that last one, did you hear that air pocket in there where we really lost a lot of the resonance? But at this softest crash, we bring them together. You kind of have to learn to line up and eye up the cymbal. Some people close an eye and look right down in there. And there we have our soft crashes. Now you may have noticed when I played the louder crashes, earlier in this video and in part 1, I tended to strike the cymbals off, turned over this way, where the cymbals are leaning. And I do that partially so I can see where I'm playing, as well as the cymbals are in each other's way and I want them to gently knock each other out of the way. But for the softest crashes, what really matters is that I can line the cymbals up. So I need to be able to see them. So I actually am not very good and not a big fan of playing soft cymbals from here because I cannot see the bottom cymbal right now. Now I can see both cymbals. And when I need to play that double pianissimo crash, it's just right there. So there's our pianissimo crash, if you would. Now what we're going to do is we're going to gently and in a small way increase the dynamic range. And I want you to watch as I do that. So essentially I'll play a whole note, 2 whole notes at pianissimo, 2 whole notes at piano, 2 whole notes at mezzo piano, and I'm going to gradually get louder, and you'll notice that I begin very slightly to play the cymbals off center. I begin to play with a double attack, and my stroke gets larger. And again, I mentioned that in the first video. I really want you to think about the height of the stroke, or the stick height, in this case, how far the cymbal travels, the height of the stroke to control the dynamic. If I want to play softly, I'll play very low. As I get louder, I'll raise the stick height. Now the other way to do that is this. I'm going to play everything from 6 inches. Now I can play a crescendo from 6 inches, but I find that very hard to control. And did you notice that the loud 6-inch strokes didn't sound the same? They had a harshness to them. You could see that the stick was really going down with a lot of velocity and playing kind of a downstroke. And so that would change the sound. So I really like to think in terms of controlling our dynamics just by changing our stick height. So now let me go through this gradual crescendo and watch how the playing spot, the double attack, and the stroke all change gradually. There you go. So I just showed you gradually how I can change that, but of course you would want to play a lot of crashes at every dynamic level to try to figure that out. I think this is a tough instrument to play. As I said in the first video, we're taking these 2 hunks of metal, these metal plates, and we're throwing them together and hoping we can get a really good sound that would match the low brass or the strings or the woodwinds or other percussion instruments, where a rich legato sound is their default sound. So we really have to work hard on this. I tend to tell people that once you've gotten 1 good cymbal crash, now you have to go into the practice, you've gotten 1 out of 10. Now you need to learn how to get 10 out of 10 good cymbal crashes. I think it takes a lot of work there. And that covers our ability to change dynamics, and we do that basically by changing the size of our stroke, the playing spot, and the amount of the double attack.